Welcome to the Zest Podcast, the podcast that flips the script on traditional coaching. Here, we challenge the status quo by turning coaching relationships on their heads. Instead of the usual dynamic where coaches lead the way, we give the coachee the mic. Each episode, a coachee interviews their coach, diving into topics they're both passionate about, be it leadership, personal growth, or navigating challenges such as neurodiversity in the workplace. Our unique format inspires authentic conversations, shared learning, and fresh perspectives. We are showcasing the dynamic chemistry that comes from real-world coaching relationships. The mission is to disrupt power dynamics, spark curiosity, and offer you inspiring, zesty insights into work, life, and everything in between. So join us as we explore bold ideas, unfiltered stories, and the transformative power of coaching, zesty style.
Hi everyone, welcome to this special episode of the Zest Psychology Podcast. Today I'm your host, Verity Cooper, and I work as a headhunter in the tech industry by day. And by night, I'm a salsa teacher and the founder of Salsa and Flow. Today is extra special because I'm interviewing someone who's had a huge impact on my personal and professional life. It's my mindset and self-image coach, Laura Phelan. Hi, Laura.
Hey, excited to be here.
Now, normally Laura is the one asking me the deep transformative questions, but today we're actually flipping the script and I'll be the one asking her about something that we're both very passionate about, and that is salsa dancing.
Yeah,
So
excited.
that's also how we both met, through salsa dancing, and yeah, it's been something that we've really bonded over. Today we're going to explore how movement, self-image and community can transform the way that we show up at work, and how salsa dancing has been a surprising but powerful catalyst for confidence in I guess both of our lives, but yeah, in particular mine. So yeah, thanks so much for being here today, Laura. Anything else you want to add there?
I think that sounds like a great introduction, so I just look forward to getting into it.
Great. So I'm going to ask a series of questions, starting with, I'm really curious to hear about, we met this time last summer, salsa dancing, and wow, just
It's a bit
looking
mad.
back, it's so funny thinking about where I was back then last summer to where I am now, and how much I've changed as a person and completely leveled up my confidence. Just so I think it'd be really interesting to talk about what your first impression of me was when we first met last summer.
I think I remember saying this to you. I think there was like two things. I thought you were a little bit quiet, but I think everyone at dance, like, it can feel like that when you're there. Like, I probably come up like that across to people because it's nerve-wracking. You're in the bandstand and people have their subgroups. But I also remember thinking that you were like quite a hippie chick, and I would assume that you had this creative job, which is really interesting because then when I learned what you did, I thought it was really cool that you kind of had both worlds, right? But also now, like, the journey that you've gone on, you've almost like come back to those roots, and how I saw you in that space, which was like this kind of free flowing gal who was walking around Brighton, like going salsa dancing. And we said you were a headhunter. I was like, okay, like, she's got both. We love that. But I think I just assumed you were like a creative or in that kind of industry because of just the energy that you had, which is really
Oh, I'll
interesting
take that
for the
as such a
journey.
compliment. I've always wanted to
Yeah.
be a creative person, but never really seen myself as one. So
Well,
yes,
that was what
really
I
just
thought of you when I saw you.
yes. um, yeah, and as you were saying, a lot of people that seem to gravitate towards taking up salsa dancing are introverts.
Yes.
And I've spoken to a lot of my friends about it, a lot of my friends from dance about that. And I think it's because with salsa dancing, there's no small talk. It's
Mm,
you get to break the ice with
mm,
salsa dancing and you start to get comfortable with people in the class, you connect with them, and then you have like a common passion because
yes.
everyone that's tried salsa dancing, usually you end up becoming completely obsessed
Yeah, yeah.
and have a really strong passion for it. So yeah, I think it really does tend to attract introverts.
Yeah.
And I would say I don't know, I think I'd see myself as, what is it when you're both an ambivert?
Yeah, like an extroverted introvert or the other way
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Like I think I quite often present as an extrovert, and I do get very
Mm,
energized from being around people. But there is a part of me that is very much an introvert. I need my
yeah.
space sometimes, and I used to see myself as not being confident at all when I was at school.
Mm,
I was
mhm.
very shy, and it was really interesting when I first took up salsa dancing. I found that because there's a lot of like groups of people, and when you go on the bandstand it's like, oh, everyone seems to be amazing at dancing and
Yeah.
no one's going to want to dance with me, because I'm not very good at dancing, and like all these fears and limiting beliefs come up. So I found it was almost like going back to school and feeling that again. And yeah, I went into my shell quite a bit when I first took up
Hmm.
salsa dancing. And then you and I started to work together, and we discussed a lot of those limiting beliefs that I had, and those fears. And you were the one that highlighted to me how much salsa dancing has had an impact positively on my confidence, not just in my personal life, but also very much so in my business world, in my job. So the next question that I wanted to ask you was, how has your impression changed of me 1 year later?
Mm. Well, I think I was right that you are that more of that like free flowing hippie gal that maybe I assumed that you were. But also I think one of the other things I thought when we met, which was quite nice for me, was like this feeling of, oh, like perhaps like similar background, similar age, like similar interests, kind of gal that I would get on with outside of salsa as well, which we did quickly realize. So that was quite an interesting thing. We both had an interest in personal development, and then we started a mentorship. So the only thing I guess that really changed was just getting to know you more as a full spectrum person. Like I said, understanding more of that corporate job, really, finding it really interesting and really cool that you have that element to you where you can like get your head in that gear and have this, high flying corporate job and have this space where you go and dance. But definitely I'd say what has changed is thinking about that initial presence that you have in the band, which like all of us when we first go, sometimes can feel daunting, and you're trying to find your place. And now I see you like throwing yourself in, like constantly tapping people on the shoulders to dance, that you don't get off
I'm the
it.
first one there. I'm like, yep, who's dancing with me
Yeah,
next?
exactly. Whereas like before you kind of cheated around the edge. So you've like
Yeah,
literally led into your flow and it's really a place where I think I see you come alive. And then really like
absolutely.
find your confidence on the dance floor, as they say.
Yeah, it has been really interesting noticing that shift. And I remember first learning about what it is that you do. And yeah, you were talking about being a self-image coach, but having the leadership coaching side of that. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
interesting, because I had recently become a leader in my corporate job as a headhunter, having a team of 5 in a very short space of time. I went from having like being solo, then I had one person, then all of a sudden I had 5 people, and I was like, whoa, this is next level. It really triggered imposter syndrome, the fear of judgment, especially because in my leadership style, I really liked to test out different things that a lot of the other managers weren't doing, bringing aspects of like mindfulness, because I practice like daily gratitude and things like that, and celebrating wins. And every time I would suggest something new with my team, I'd be like, oh, how is this going to go down? And like really not backing myself. So when you said, oh, well, I can help with leadership coaching, because we'd built that relationship salsa dancing together, I felt like I'd already built that trust with working with you, and I really admired.
So important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really admired how confident you are as well, but also like very grounded and so on. So yeah, my next question was around, we've both experienced salsa dancing as more than just a hobby. I think, it's about all of the aspects, because for me, salsa dancing is a really powerful tool for self-development. But how has it impacted your confidence?
Yeah, it's a good question. I love that question. I think for me, like dancing is like freedom. And I think it's interesting because what got me to dance was my confidence. And I remember it was my 31st birthday eve, so 2 years ago, like around this time. And I remember seeing the Band Noise thinking, I'm going to get myself there. And I was just out with my family and had one Aperol spritz. And I thought,
Ooh,
tonight is
love
the
the
night.
apples.
I was out of a long relationship. I had my first summer in Brighton. And I was like, I'm just going to get myself there. And I remember going, and I knew nothing, guys. I knew I didn't know a step. I'd been to like a class or two in my life. And there was a guy there at the time, Michael, who was just brilliant. I mean, she was so welcome. And they ended up doing me a birthday circle, which you now know what that is.
Whoa.
And I had never danced before. And I've got this really great video off my Instagram where I'm in the middle, literally being thrown around. No
Love
steps,
that.
no real rhythm, but just beaming, like the smile on my face. And I remember staying out that night. I had the fever then till 2 a.m., which was a bit of you. And just thinking, I don't even know what I'm doing, but this just feels so freeing. I felt just completely connected to myself, to my life. It really made me feel like this was something that I could just come and, also as a female leader, like running a business, like I micromanage so much of my life. I am the leader and the kind of masculine role in so many ways. For me, it's a way to express, to let go. When people say, do you want to learn to lead? I'm like, absolutely not in dance. I will
Yeah.
follow. So it's freedom. It's allowing me to tap into my body. It's allowing me to just feel that sense of escapism, but in a really positive, connected way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one of the things that I really enjoy as well, especially at work. I need to show up as a leader, and I'm making decisions all day long.
All day. Yeah.
So being able to go salsa dancing and just switch off and be led and not be the one making decisions, I think has been really useful for my own health, I guess, and just well-being.
Yeah. I love that.
And another thing I wanted to touch on is how, I guess psychological principles behind movement and self-image that you've seen in your coaching. And I think you have already touched on some of that a little bit, but especially thinking about, how I was battling with imposter syndrome. And, I used to talk to you about, these are some of the ideas that I've suggested with my team. And I used to overthink so much, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know how that meeting went. I think they all hate me. How do you think that's helped, I guess, shape me or, other people that you've worked with?
I think it's a place where you learn to let go of inhibition. Because if you can get up in, when we say bandstand for those listening, like this is like a literal bandstand in the middle of Brighton in the seafront where it is so visible, like people stop and take videos
It's
and
all
recordings,
recording.
and
Yeah.
it's there. So it's very exposing, and it's interesting because I think for you and I, it's a real safe space. And I think people that go there,
Yeah.
I almost feel, I don't feel very exposed when I'm there in terms of the fact that like
It's
it's
like a
quite a safe
sanctuary,
space.
actually.
Yeah, it is like a sanctuary. And the reason I often like it is I love to be social, but I feel like I can go there and I can connect with people without using a lot of my social battery. So I think that's also
True.
important because a lot of the
Yeah.
time, what I see for a lot of female leaders, people like you and I, is that we're constantly on. And when we're on all
Yeah.
the time and making these decisions, we need a place where we can be in connection and be
Yeah.
free flowing and moving our bodies without it necessarily be draining our life force. So I think the ability to go and be in people's energy, but also be able to feel like you're connected more to yourself and what you're doing is such a, I guess, nourishing thing for your well-being because you're
That's so
moving,
true.
you're connecting, but you also don't have to use a lot of that brain power and headspace that you would at work
Yeah.
all day. So I'd say that is probably one of
There's
the biggest benefits for people.
there's so many reasons that I'm really passionate about salsa dancing because, yeah, as you touched on there, there's all of the benefits to it, as well
Yeah,
as the movement, and you're exercising, but it doesn't feel like you're
totally.
exercising, and it's not like going to the gym or something. And I feel like people that salsa dance are a lot nicer. Like there's a really good community,
Yeah.
whereas going to the gym can feel
Mm.
really intimidating.
Intimidating. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But then there's also like the breath work element
Yes.
to it. Yeah, connecting with others. And for me, like it is the best way to get into flow state. I've practiced all the yoga, I've done all the different hobbies. And actually, I used to be very much fitness, running, very like masculine, heavy things, and like deciding on my own workouts. Whereas going to salsa, I'm like, oh, I'll just go to the bandstand and I'll go for however long I feel like. I don't have to be like, gonna do it for 1 hour. And you just
Yeah.
get to like switch off. And I think that's something that's really helped me to tap into my creativity as
Yeah.
well, because honestly before, like I was such a logical structure, very masculine energy heavy person. I didn't feel creative at all, but now it's boosted my creativity, and I think that's
Hmm.
helped in my job because as a headhunter, there's a lot of noise, and especially with AI coming in, like
Yeah.
a lot of candidates are just getting the same messages from recruiters or bots
Yeah.
even. So this year in particular, I've really had to start to think about, okay, how can I be creative to
Yeah.
stand out from the crowd? And it's meant that I've come up with different ways to reach out, whether that's like written messages or I actually do a lot of video outreaches. So I send
Nice.
people on LinkedIn videos of me talking. And not that long ago, I don't think I would have had the confidence
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
done that. Whereas now, especially so one thing that I like to do at lunchtime, when I go into the office, one of my friends there is also a salsa dancer. So during lunch, after we've eaten, you get a bit tired. We then end up having a bit of a salsa dance, and it is
Hmm.
the best energy and mood booster. So then when I go and do my videos, I'm like, it just completely brings me alive, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And then when I cold call people, I've got so much
Yeah.
energy.
You've got that energy.
Exactly. So yeah, it's helped me in loads of ways in that sense. And then I also went to a networking event recently where
Yes.
going to network events, when you tell people you're a headhunter, sometimes they're a little bit like, oh, they're going to try and like sell their services to me, or they want to try and get some jobs from me, or their eyes start to dart to the side a little bit, especially some people that are recruiters. They can give us a bad rep. Whereas when I started telling people, I said, okay, I'm a headhunter by day. But what I love to do is I teach salsa, and I'm the founder of a class called Salsa and Flow, which blends salsa with mindfulness, and it's like a yoga class, but dancing salsa. And people are like, whoa, that's so cool. And
Yeah, really good edge. And also like more of like a
yeah,
humanness. It's that full spectrum. Like people
yeah,
want to know the person, like they don't just want to feel like a number. So you're also relating to them in terms of who you are outside of just the
e-
recruitment world.
exactly. And then again, it helps me to feel more confident because I see like their eyes light up, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can talk about all of this on a
Yeah.
human to human level. And I found that it really gave me something to hook, like something so that they could attach to actually remember my name. Then I'm not just another headhunter. It's like, oh, that's the
Yeah.
salsa girl, which I do seem to have adopted that nickname. I've actually been stopped in the street in Brighton and with people
That's
saying,
Alpha
oh, you're the
Girl.
salsa girl. And yeah, like so it completely transformed my networking. I got more follow-ups or responses from my follow-ups after that. And during networking events, I've actually got people up salsa dancing.
Get them to experience it.
Yeah, and then it drew in other people as well to be like, oh wow, like what you're doing here, and sparks up conversation. It broke the ice, whereas people were just sat down, so it helped them to
Yeah.
like get moving. Um, so it's been really interesting in that way, and I think um, it's helped me to really tap into authentic confidence as well,
Mhm.
because when you're dancing, you're expressing your true self. Like in the moment, it's just whatever comes out, whatever your body does. Um, so that's also helped me to, instead of the whole like fake it till you make it, and that
Yeah.
is quite a big thing in recruitment. People say that all the time, like, oh, just fake it till you make it. But actually, I've started to think more about that authentic confidence. And
Mm.
when I talk to people, I use salsa dancing as a talking point. They'll be like, what are you doing this weekend? Or like
Mhm.
going to the a dance retreat in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I told people, oh, I'm going to be out of office because I'm going to the Caribbean for a dancing retreat. And they were literally asking me, how was your retreat?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, intrigued if you have anything else to add on the authentic confidence side of things and how you've seen
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, I love the way that you described where it's like you're in the moment, you can't control it. Whether you mess up, whether it's really good, whether you
Yeah.
awkwardly lock eyes with someone, or whether it ends up being a really good dance. It is, I guess, quite vulnerable in that way. And I think what dance has taught me, and that I always say to my clients, is I think we should be better at doing things we're not necessarily great at. And for me, running a business,
Yeah.
doing all the things to do, I'm a dog mom, blah, 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 blah. I've never had
Mm.
the time to put into dance to get to the level that, a lot of people might get to, but it's never stopped me dancing, right? And I think if I allowed it to just become about how good I was getting, as opposed to the joy it made me feel, I wouldn't be being authentic to why it felt good in the first place, and it would put me off going. So I think for me, it's also about going and not having a pressure expectation. Just like when you
Yeah.
go for a run or you go to do a gym session, you don't always train as well as you did the time before. So it's learning to go and enjoy it for the experience that it is,
Yeah.
rather than just going to like be your best. And I think that for me is what authenticity is really. It's being okay with that, being okay with getting the benefits without the perfectionism, without having to seem amazing to someone else, and actually just because it feels good for you.
That is so true, and you definitely helped me with that a lot because, you know,
You'd
we've
be
been
like,
to
okay, girl, we're on quickly.
yeah, even though I'd love to be, but
Right,
you
of
know, when
course.
we've been to dance festivals
Yeah.
and you do, the shyness comes out and you're like, oh, I've got to ask people to dance. You've really helped me to overcome those hurdles, and you know, you pushed me to not put you helped encourage me to set up my own salsa classes, which I still can't believe I've had the audacity to, after one
Audacity, we
year,
love it. I love it.
after
We love
one
the
year of
audacity.
salsa dancing, never really had a dance background either. I just decided to set up my own salsa classes because I feel so passionately about the power of salsa for people's health and well-being. And you know, we're living in a very digital world where people are glued to their phones, and it's such a beautiful way to get people connecting again in real life. And I'm actually going to be doing some hosting my own networking events which will have salsa.
Amazing.
Getting people to just meet and just break the ice and talk properly. But
Become more
yeah,
of a movement for you, I feel like. I feel like it's not just a class, it feels like it's a bit of a movement. It's like a, you know,
exact
it's a brand. It's about getting
yeah,
people feeling and experiencing all of these things in the way that you have.
exactly. And I don't know if you remember what it was like when I first set up the salsa classes, and I didn't feel ready, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. I literally almost cancelled the whole thing. Like after the first class, I was like,
Yeah.
no, I can't do this. But you know, you encouraged me and guided me and helped me remember that I'm not setting up these classes to help people be the best dancer ever.
Literally.
And actually, one of my superpowers is, if you like, is, or you know, one of the benefits of my classes is that you're not getting taught by a professional dancer that's going to be really strict. It's someone that remembers what it's like being a beginner and can. It's not focusing on being perfect. It's about
Right.
getting out of your head and enjoying the dance. And I think you can apply that to a lot in other areas, like, you know,
Massively.
in your working life, like letting go of the perfectionism, which I used to struggle with that a lot in my job. So like everything has to be high standards because I work with clients, you know, I'm in
Yeah.
consulting. But it's really helped me to remember, no, that's not always what it's all about. So yeah, it's been really helpful in that sense. And I know when we first started working together with you as my coach on the business side of things, one of the things you commented on is how I was really playing small. And I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about what you saw.
I think it's a pattern or a something I see in so many women, right? It's something I experienced in the past, and I think my main, you know, aim with what I do and what I see and saw and knew, I guess, was we're still in a time where no matter how far we've come as women, we're told to be smaller, be quieter, be less. You know, we're told that we're always meant to be doing more or we're not enough, right? And I think with you, I saw in that corporate space, and I see it still, like, you know, you're really able to apply yourself. You can work under quite a lot of pressure. You have a lot of confidence and gumption in what you do. And I think in an entrepreneurial standpoint as well, like that is so needed. And you know, I saw the fire that I had when I started business. Like you need that fire because some of it can feel delusional. And even in the corporate space and in the work that you do, I think a lot of the work that we did was also around you almost have your own little sub business. So you really have to
Yeah.
still have that very self-motivated, self-leadership aspect of being able to get those cold calls and go after the clients and build the relationships, which is quite similar to what you do when you build a business, right? It's relationship building and brand building. So I think for
Yeah.
you, it was about tapping into that and understanding that all of the skills that you had were really transferable. And it didn't need to be one or the other. It was just like, how can you expand in all the areas, you know,
Yeah.
in your corporate career in the way that you were and in the the side project that's now become this beautiful movement that you wanted to set up, and just channeling all of that energy that you had and providing some structure so that it
Yeah.
became as big as you wanted it to be. Because the only blocker that I ever see in people is themselves, the true blocker. We've got external circumstances always, but truly the biggest blocker is always ourselves and our mindset. And once we unlock that,
Yeah.
that's when things really grow and expand.
Yeah, and I remember you mentioning about how I'd really played small, like even, when you first met me, like you didn't realize that
Yeah,
I was a headhunter and how like
yeah,
successful I was because in a way
and
like I
still
didn't.
are.
Thank you. And I don't always feel like it because I'm in such a male
Yes.
heavy environment. Like there's not many female managers at all
Hmm.
in my company or even in
Hmm.
the tech or recruitment industry as a
Yeah.
whole. And I've set up this brand new division in my company. So there's been a lot of figuring out new things and like having to step boldly and do something different. And that's the same with what I've been doing with salsa and flow. I've not just set up any old salsa classes. I've set up salsa classes that infuse, like it starts like a yoga class would, and it has all this mindfulness stuff. And we had you come in and do some tapping, and you spoke about just like remembering that it's about enjoying it and so on. So every time I bring in something like that, I'm like, everyone's gonna hate it and they're gonna think I'm really weird.
Love it.
But you've really helped me to see how transferable it is. And like every time Flow State, where the salsa classes are held, every time they
Yeah.
post, like these are the classes for tomorrow, and it's like yoga, 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 and then it's salsa. And I'm like, oh my God, I've created something different. And my classes are full. People love it. And it gives me the confidence to try something new in my day job
Yeah.
as well. And I wanted to talk about, what was I going to say? Oh, I remember we did that exercise when you were coaching me where we drew like the circles and we did salsa
Yeah.
and how, like just going over how that has helped me.
The overlap
Because
between it.
exactly, like in my day job, I am the chair of the charity committee as well. So there's a lot of like planning involved in that, and it's helped on both sides. That's helped me set up the salsa classes and vice versa. And we talked about building a community because that's what I've done with the salsa classes. And I think half the people there then actually not that bothered about salsa dancing. I think they just go because it's a place where they feel like they belong. It gives them
Yeah.
that sense of belonging. And how do you see community affecting confidence?
Oh my God. I mean, community is everything. Like, I think something really hit where I really love that you, and I think this is probably very close to your heart as well, like wanting to create this sense of belonging, right? Because this is
Yeah.
so important, especially like in this day and age where in some ways we're more connected and others we're not. Like, we both live in Brighton. You walk out to coffee and how many times we bumped into each other, and you were trying to get
Yeah.
down to the sea and you see
I'm
so many
like, there's
people. And
your dog.
yeah, I love that about here. Like, I literally did a post today around, 10 years ago living in London, so disconnected, and to 10
Right.
years on, and just having this community, because I think it gives you a sense of belonging, connection, interaction. It makes you feel more at home. And I think we do live in a day and age where, you know, the modern world doesn't have to look like a nuclear family setup, right? Like,
Yeah.
to be in connection doesn't mean that you have to have a husband and kids and live in a house with a fence. It can be all sorts of things. And I think something like salsa and these kind of groups really allow people at all stages of life, because people that dance, well, literally, I've danced with people that are like 18 all the way up to like 80, I think.
Yeah.
All stages of life are welcome. And so I think for
Uh-huh.
that, like, community and confidence is important, because
And you don't even have
having
to
the right
speak the same
community allows you to
language.
be seen. Exactly. You don't speak the same language. You get to be seen, get to be seen and listened to and heard, and be in community with others as you are. And that is such a good
So
thing for
true.
confidence, because you don't need to fit into a subgroup to belong. And a dance and the
Yeah,
dance community that we have here is a really
yeah.
good way to get into that.
Exactly, and I've made friends with so many people in the dance
Yeah.
community. I think people that I never would have even really crossed
Hmm.
paths with before, and it's really opened my eyes. And yeah, I've learned from a lot of different people. And in terms of the networking within the dance community that I've had as well, meeting you, who then ended up coaching me, and I've met people that are CEOs of companies.
Hmm.
Or people that are just really successful in like the corporate world or whatever, and that's ended up I've collaborated in some way, or it's been beneficial for my job
Hmm.
as a headhunter. I'm like, oh, I can actually work with them in this way, and yeah, it's helped me to then I didn't have to cold call them. We're talking to each other
Hmm.
like human to human. But yeah, the community, I think that's something particularly important for me in Brighton, because there are so many people like myself that don't live close to their
Hmm.
families, and it's so beautiful to have those things that bring people together. And in the business world as well, after COVID, how many people are now working from home,
Yeah.
not going into an office?
Isolating.
Very
Yeah.
isolating. And I think there's some people that are still struggling post COVID to like get back into integrating with society and like
Mm.
finding hobbies again. And there are some of those hobbies like running or going to the gym or whatever that do feel very daunting, whereas the kind of people that are attracted to go salsa dancing are just, I don't know, just a bit more warm and open. I think because salsa
Yeah. You
like
have
just,
to be open to go there. You have to
yeah,
like, you have to be willing to dance and connect with people that you wouldn't normally meet. And I think if you're not an
yeah,
open-minded person, you're not gonna feel
yeah,
good there for you, and others might not feel good in your presence. It's a
yeah.
place to be in your open heart.
And because you've got the music and the endorphins and everything, it puts people in a good mood. Like
Yeah, exactly.
salsa is so joyful. After I've been dancing, I'm just like absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, it's hard to
So
sleep after it.
yeah, that's probably one of the only
No,
downsides,
it
is
is.
that it can
Yeah.
make it hard to sleep after, and I never want to leave as well. So yeah, and I think people. I think my last question would be around how you think people who feel isolated at work can create their own community for support, and how like
Mm.
hobbies can help with
Yeah.
that.
This is actually a massive part of the coaching that I do. And when I work with people, as you know, we create something called your self strategy. And the reason I do this is because most of the career business people that I work with, they've got marketing strategy, finance strategy, business strategies. But what they're not focusing on, in my eyes, enough is like their own strategy, whether that's how healthy they are, how well they're sleeping, their social connections, their hobbies. And I do see a massive link between what you put in personally impacts how successful you get to be professionally, because we're not robots. And
Yeah.
especially as women, we are very full spectrum. We are hormonal, we are cyclical. So if you are not
Mm-hmm.
connecting with others, if you do not have outlets, if you don't have places to emotionally regulate, if you don't have places
Yeah.
to connect, that feeling where you're just feeling a bit flat, and then suddenly you go on a coffee walk with a friend, and it's like you've put the world to rights, and you're suddenly got all the energy you have for the day. Connection is so important. Like, connection is literally the opposite to depression. Purpose, connection,
So true.
what a lot of doctors say. So when you're connecting and getting yourself in those spaces, you're going to feel better, whether that's in a work setting, whether that's in your business, whether that's just applying your day-to-day life. So even just putting that in, a coffee with a friend, getting together and co-working, you're going to feel far different for it. So put that in. Don't just leave it all down to how successful I can be for what I do on my own. It's like, how successful can I be in the company of others who boost me and energize me, which
Yeah,
is what salsa is and dancing is.
exactly. It's so interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been really lovely talking about all of this, and yeah, let me know if there's anything else that you wanted to mention or chat about.
Mm. I guess I'd love to know from someone who has coached you. Like, I think an interesting question is like, if you could sum up in like a few words or like a sentence, like a year on, how different you feel in yourself via the work we've done, via the dance, via your own personal growth outside of all of it. Like, what does that transformation look like? And I think for people listening, like, if they're looking for that encouragement, for someone that's going through it and been through that journey, what would you describe your journey as, and what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's interesting because 1 year ago I thought that I was a confident person because, I'm cold calling all day for
Yeah.
my job and so on, but I didn't realise like how much more confident I could get, and yeah, just how much I could get over. Like, I didn't realise how much I was playing small, and I didn't realise how much my limiting beliefs were affecting me until you highlighted that. And yeah, we started to pick into some of them and work out, okay, why was I thinking about that, and going back to where it stems from, and then, doing all the tapping around it, which is something that I've absolutely loved doing. And it's really helped me to show up at work and go that extra mile and not be afraid to suggest new ideas to my team. And I think I've felt a lot of relief as well, and saved a lot of time, because I'm not overthinking a million things anymore. I'm like, just go with it. If people don't like it, then either they're not the right people, or we'll find a way to fix it. So I think it's really helped overcome that for me. And yeah, your coaching has been phenomenal, transformational. It has helped me in so many ways, personally and professionally. I'm really excited to see, what's to come for a year on from now, and maybe we have to do another chinwag about seeing what's happened from then. I've got a lot of dreams and aspirations.
You do. I'm excited to
I
see them
never
as
used to
well.
be a dreamer. Like, I can't believe it. Now I'm like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and acting like it's already happened.
That's how they make it happen. I love that.
The delusional, I do
Yeah,
feel like I am sometimes, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to go for it and be
do
bold.
it. I
So
love how
yeah,
you touched on there the difference between, I think this is something that would be a really nice thing to end on, or people to think about, is you can look confident and things can look great, but there's such a difference between feeling it and embodying it and experiencing it.
yes, that's so
And I think
true.
that's a massive thing that I want, like, especially women to take from that, is because there is nothing that beats the feeling of that, of being genuinely at peace within yourself,
Yeah,
within your body, within your own skin, especially in this day and age. And like, create a life that feels good over one that looks good. And that comes for
yeah.
yourself as well.
And that is another thing about how dancing is one of the most powerful hobbies to
Yeah.
help with that, because you are expressing your true self just in the moment.
Yeah.
It's been one of the absolute best things for me.
Yeah.
So more dancing, I say. I literally get in pretty much every day. I'm
Yeah.
dancing.
Good.
um,
Good.
but yeah, Laura, thank you for letting me turn the tables today. It was
So
quite
welcome.
fun.
It's been really
And
fun.
I really hope that this conversation inspires people to explore new ways of building confidence, to go try new hobbies, especially go and try salsa dancing, and come to one of my classes at Flow
Yeah.
State Yoga Studio in Hove. It's called Salsa and Flow. Give it a try. And yeah, I encourage people to try coaching as well. Laura, where can they find you if they want more information on your coaching?
Yeah, you can find me on my Instagram. This is Laura Phelan. And the same thing on LinkedIn. I'm on there. And you can just reach out, send me a DM, apply for a call. Would love to chat to you, and we can connect and see where you're at.
Thank you. Yep, go give her a follow, and you can find my socials on Instagram, Dancing is Healing. I don't have a website yet because we're still in startup phase, but come along to Flow State. And thank you everyone for listening. Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about moving, showing up, and letting yourself be seen, both in the workplace and on the dance floor.
Love that.
Thanks.